Greetings everyone, Slizzle466 here, and in today's video, we're looking at some of the best wild decks to climb with post-Hysteria nerf. The first deck we're looking at is Odd Demon Hunter, and what you'll notice here is it's not running any new cards from the Darkmoon Races mini set, because to be honest, they're not particularly great. Illidari Studies, it is RNG based. You don't want to be running Soul Fragments in your deck, so I would just go with the Odd Demon Hunter list that we've seen in the past, having lots of 1-drops, having synergies with the Stilt Stepper to get extra attack, and just knocking your opponent down with a ton of burst damage. Looking at Druid, we have an aggro Druid that I built. This is similar to a lot of the stock aggro Druid lists that you see floating around on the wild ladder, but essentially what I've done here is I've taken out Nerubar Weblord and I've put in Crab Rider, 2-mana 1/4 Murloc, Rush and Wind Fury. This gets buffed off Embiggen. It's absolutely insane and very difficult for a lot of decks to deal with. Looking at Mage, we've got Quest Mage by Bodybuilder. This is, again, pretty stock Quest Mage list, but with the addition of the Conjure Mana Biscuit. 2-mana spell, add a biscuit to your hand that refreshes 2 mana crystals. This spell is a 0-mana spell, which does progress your Open Away Gate quest. Just be aware it says refresh, not gain, so it's not ramp. But it does help you to have some really crazy turns that you weren't able to do prior to this card's existence. If you'd like to play a bit of a slower version of Quest Mage, you can check out Cream Puff's Reno Quest Mage. Cream Puff has played a lot of Reno Quest Mage in the past, specifically Reno Dragon Quest Mage. He's opted to cut the dragons in this specific build and go more all in on the spells, trying to get that quest done very quickly. What you'll see in here is the Conjure Mana Biscuit yet again, but you'll also see the inclusion of Keywarden Ivory, 5-mana 4/5, Battlecry, discover a dual class spell from any class, Spell Burst, get another copy. One thing to keep in mind is if you play Keywarden Ivory and you don't have a spell in hand, keep in mind you can use that discovered spell to get another copy of it. If you'd like to play a more degenerate version of Mage, just play Secret Mage. I've got nothing else to say about this deck. Another list by Bodybuilders, now shifting over to Paladin. We've got Hand Buff Paladin. This list, originally people thought it was a meme, and then it started to get refined, and it's in fact better, I would say, than Mech Hand Buff Paladin. You can just make these absolutely ridiculous boards. You've got First Day of School to generate more minions. You've got the inclusion here of the Crab Rider again buffing this, whether it's buffing it with your Smuggler's Run, your Grime Street Outfitter, or your Glowstone Technician. You can just do ridiculous things with this deck. It's especially very good into Darkglare Warlock. They're going to be everywhere in the meta if they're not already, and so this is a very good deck to help counter the meta. We've also got Mentalistic's Odd Paladin. I believe this is just the stock list that he's been running for a while now, so you'll notice there's nothing new in here. It's just a solid build. You'll notice that there is an animated broomstick and a Lord Barav, and that is a tech to deal with Darkglare Warlock. Shifting over to Priest, we've got a big Priest that I've built. Basically what I did is I took a stock list that's pretty commonly seen on the ladder. I took out a Holy Smite and I put in a Hysteria. Again, just to remind you, Hysteria has been nerfed. It's a 3-mana spell still, but now it's choose an enemy minion. You can't target your own anymore. It attacks random minions until it dies. So it's a nice way to potentially clear the board if your opponent has a big minion. I only like it as a one-off, and if I really wanted one, I could try and discover it off of Shadow Visions. but I think it's worth an inclusion just as a piece of removal. Looking at another priest list I've built, this is my version of Reno Priest. Again, what I've taken here is a pretty stock list of Reno Priest. There are two cards that I'm not a huge fan of in Reno Priest. One of those being the Sphere of Sapience, and the other one being the Mindrender Elusia. For me though, Mindrender Elusia can steal wins sometimes when you've got your Shadow Reaper Anduin out. It can also mess up a Quest Mage's win condition. So I chose to take out the Sphere of Sapience and put in a Hysteria. Again, same reasons as it's in my big priest list. I just think it's a nice piece of removal, and you can discover it off Shadow Visions if you really want to use it. Moving over to Rogue, we have Kingsbane Rogue. I don't know how to even say this person's name, but I see them come up a lot on the China server. This is a really solid build of Kingsbane. What's thrown Kingsbane over the edge even more is Nitro Boost Poison, which is absolutely insane. Also keep in mind that if for some reason your hand is full of 1-drops and you're having trouble trying to somehow corrupt your Nitro Boost Poison, you can always prep into, say, a Raiding Party or a Tinker's Oil to help you boost that Nitro Boost Poison. Odd Rogue is also back in the meta in a pretty significant way. I personally think this is the best Rogue deck to climb with, better than Kingsbane. Again, you'll see that this list has the Nitro Boost Poison, but this is even more powerful for Odd Rogue because Odd Rogue is a board-based deck, similar to how Cold Blood, when it was 1 mana, was absolutely insane. Nitro Boost Poison basically gives Odd Rogue its Cold Blood back, and it is a force to be reckoned with on the current Wild ladder. Looking at Shaman, I've only got one list to look at here, and it's just big Shaman. There's nothing new in here from the Darkwing Races expansion. Basically, if you can just get an Ancestor's Call, get a Eureka or a Muckmorpher going, it's very difficult for your opponent to deal with the high roll, and you get a lot of auto wins with the deck. Looking at Warlock, a few Warlock lists here. We've got Discard Warlock. Again, nothing special here. It's just a nice stock Discard Warlock. Nothing new needs to be in here. There is the new spell, the 3 mana one, but personally, I think it is a touch too slow. The Backfire, I don't think you need it. You've got Hand of Gul'dan. That does the same thing, but for free, since you're discarding it. Probably the best Warlock list to climb with would be Darkglare Warlock. Now this list does run Backfire. I'll be honest, I haven't tested this list myself, so I'm reluctant to know if Backfire is any good. I personally feel like it's a tad slow, but as someone who hasn't tested this yet, it's worth a try. If Backfire is not working for you, you can just take it out, put in something else that'll work for you. Reno Warlock. Now, Reno Warlock was I actually found Reno Warlock a ton of fun when the Tiller OTK existed, because you could just run a soft OTK with the Hysteria, the Wretched Tiller, and the Death Speaker, but we can't do that anymore. However, Hysteria is still a good card. It is removal, it's potentially a board clear, and so it's just a nice inclusion in the list. There's also an Armor Vendor in here, which helps give you some extra value. Otherwise, it's just a solid, sensibly built Reno Warlock list. I never like running super greedy cards, so you don't see things like Ticketus in here. There's a little bit of tech. There's a Gluttonous Ooze, for example. But otherwise, just a solid Reno Lock build to play, and highly recommended. Last class to look at here is Warrior. Here we have an Odd Warrior list that has seen success on the China server. You'll see there's the armor vendor in here, which is a great one drop, especially when comboed with your shield slam to get a little bit of extra removal. You'll see there's a spiked wheel in here. This is basically Fiery War Axe all the time because as an odd warrior, you've always got armor. So that's pretty insane. Otherwise, it's just odd warrior. You grind your opponent out until they give up. If they refuse to give up, you play Dr. Boom Mad Genius, and you get lots of value off the randomly rotating hero power. Galakrond Warrior by Memnarch. Again, there's nothing new in this list. It's just a solid list to climb with. Personally, I think it's a bit of a sleeper OP list because you don't see many people rocking Galakrond Warrior on the ladder, but it does have a very nice tool to help deal with the dreaded Darkblade Warlock, the Lord Barov. Lord Barov, there are a couple ways to proc this, or not even proc it, just play Lord Barov and Awaken is one example. But just otherwise, this is a very solid list, very well built. And if you want to play some Galakrond Warlock, this is the way to do it. And last but not least, this is my build of Pirate Warrior that I had I think I had an 80% win rate on day 1 of Darkmoon Races with this list. So what you'll see here is the Nitro Boost Poison. So again, because Pirate Warrior is a board-based deck now, it's very heavy on board presence. This is great synergy for having a little boost on your weapon, little boost on your board. Otherwise, super aggressive deck. Personally, I've been cutting Sir Finley these days and opting in for the Sky Captain Crag. I'm very often finding that because of all the early game burst and all of the little pirates I can generate, especially off the Sharkfin fan, I can get this out really cheap a lot of the time. It's also nice when you can play a Crag and then follow up with a Leroy the next turn for lethal. So I'm really happy with this specific build. And otherwise, that's all the decks I have to feature for this video. You'll find all the deck codes in the description below. And if you're a mobile user and you're finding it difficult to copy those deck codes, you'll see there is a link to my Discord. You can join, visit the deck lists only channel. You'll find all the deck codes there for easy copying. If you want to help support this channel, you can click the subscribe button, click that notification bell, and until next time, hope to see you again.